called Chunt.
Greetings, one and all. Good morning, good evening, depending on where you are, or afternoon, I guess. I am Uncle Chunt, yes, the one and only Uncle Chunt, and I am speaking to you in a world that is a post-Zack Snyder's Justice League world. Who would have ever imagined that we'd get here? I sure as hell had my doubts, as I'm sure many of you did out there. So first off, introductions. Many of you, algorithm permitting, have no idea who I am, alright? So I'm just going to introduce myself. My name's Uncle Chunt. Yes, Uncle Chunt. I am down here in the land down under, Australia. I do Chuntcasts every Sunday, which is my podcast, which I talk about whatever topics, gaming, comic books, and movie-related stuff that I wish to discuss, if it interested me during the week. And here I am discussing this movie that I've been waiting for about 4 years now. And the one that came out in 2017 no longer exists as far as I'm concerned. So that'll be a little tease to see how this review discussion goes. This will be more of a discussion than a pointed review. I just like to keep it free form, so let's just right into it now. All right, so firstly, I want to thank Binge. Binge, thank you very much. Like, I'm a very small channel. I don't have a massive following. But you sent me a DM on Twitter and were like, hey, we've kept an eye on your socials, and we understand and realize that you're a big DC Comics fan and supporter of this movie. So we'd like to extend the offer to you to watch an exclusive viewing on the weekend with other people around the world. So they sent me a link. They forwarded it off to HBO Max, and they sent me a link with a view code, Warner Brothers Screener, I believe it was called, or just a watch link. And yeah, that's how I consumed this weekend. This is my one day off this week. And I chose to watch this 4-hour, 10-minute movie twice. Yes, it's that good. I decided to spend a whole day doing this one movie. Yeah, I can't believe it either. Anyway, so let's bring up some visual aid here. So this is the Justice League. Yes, the black and white poster. I really like it. So that's why I'm using it. So let me explain why I watched it twice. And then we'll get into discussing parts of the film, all right? There's a lot to unpack. That's why. There's so much in this movie. So much. Let me start off by saying, did I like it or not? Because I think that's what most of you people are going to want to have your opinions validated on with random people on the internet when you go and clicking through reviews. Did I like it? Yes, 100%. I had a very, very good, excellent time with this film. I guarantee you will get something out of this. It's a different viewing experience than you normally would have. If this movie is not a popcorn movie flick that is generated by a committee, it's not like that at all. It's not to sound pretentious, but it's like cinema. It's actual like movie making cinema, storytelling cinema. It's not just turn your brain off, flicking the popcorn for 2 hours and all right, next. It's not that at all. You have to let this movie take you on the story that it's trying to tell, or does tell. That's how I can explain it to you. And if that sounds appealing to you, then by golly, go get into it March 18th. I highly recommend it, that you'll hopefully enjoy it. Now, if you don't like DC movies or Zack Snyder's films, this one's probably not going to change your mind. You know, just go into it. If you have any minute interest at all, go into this one with just any like modicum of interest to be like, what does this have to offer me? Maybe I'll like this one where I didn't like the others. Does this feel like a Zack Snyder film? It sure does. The opening sequence, I audibly gasped and was just thinking to myself, that's a Zack Snyder shot. I was stunned. It just had me from the very first sequence. Each one of these movies, Man of Steel opens up with like a 30 minute sequence of Krypton and its destruction, and it was like, wow, that's a movie in itself. Like a mini movie. Batman vs Superman opens with Bruce Wayne's perspective for the end of Man of Steel, and that just blew me away in the cinema. I was like, wow, what an awesome thought and decision to retell as a catch-up, but from Bruce Wayne's perspective, and set the grounds that way. But this one does it again, and I can't spoil it, but some of the shots are in the trailers, so I guess I can talk about it, where it's the perspective of when Superman's dying and he's calling out, and his cries, his death cries go around the world. That initial sequence was just like, he's a visionary, and I don't want to make this sound too pretentious. and fanboyish, but I can't help it because these are the words that I can think of when thinking of his movies. What Zack does, like, I've been a Zack Snyder fan before Man of Steel. Like, these other movies that he put out, I've enjoyed his work because he has this signature thumbprint to his work, and it resonates with me, and I really enjoy what he does. And then when he came on to Man of Steel, I was like, oh damn, you know, I remember going, oh god, that's going to be great. And it turned out to be, and ever since I've just like, yeah, Batman vs Superman, you know, top movie all time. And now this, he just keeps upping the ante for what he does as a filmmaker, and that's rare to see these days. Rare to see. Like, everything these days is so like by the book kind of cookie cutter stuff, whereas this was a risk. And I can understand from a business perspective why executives might have just been like, god, we can't put this out, like, who's going to sit there for 4 hours and 10 minutes and watch this? But there's a market for it, clearly, because streaming services exist, and I refuse to accept the notion that people say, oh, the movie's too long. Oh, how am I going to watch a 4-hour movie? How do you watch 10 episodes of a show that drops in one day, but you do it anyway? Don't give me that. That's an invalid excuse these days. But this movie, its storytelling method is done in chapters. There's 6 chapters and an epilogue at the end. So each part of it does kind of end with a moment for you to breathe because there's so much within. I want to watch it again, but I'm gonna not immediately. I can't watch it. I don't have enough time to watch the screener version again. It'll run out by the time I put this out. But I'm going to be there with you March 18th, streaming it on Binge, and wherever you are in the world where you're going to see it, I'll be watching it there. I do have some negatives, but I'll put those at the end because there aren't many, right? But the story that's told here is a vastly different experience than the 2017 one. Really, it's amazing how different they are, even though the crux of the story beats are there, where, you know, Steppenwolf comes to Earth looking for the mother boxes, you know, Superman's return, all that kind of stuff. It's all there, but I'm amazed. I'll give credit where it's due, I guess, where I can't believe the 2017 version actually happened with how much they cut out of it and how much they reshot the movie and rescripted it, but still kept the same beats. I mean, that's impressive, but that's the only kind of positive criticism I'm going to have for that. This one just makes that movie seem like a vastly inferior product, even more so than it already is. My God. But do yourself a favor, if you can, set the time aside for yourself to watch this, and I guarantee you'll get something out of it. Cyborg is a massive part of this movie, where he was pretty much written out just about of the old version. His character is also vastly different. He's not much for a bro guy. Like, he's very not down, but he's internalized a lot because his character's gone through some stuff, you know, that you didn't see in the last movie, where he's had a rough trot in life, and you can kind of understand why he is the way he is. But he has a character arc in this movie, just like all the other ones do, and that's what I like about this movie. It doesn't shoehorn any one of the characters that are in this. It gives them all time to breathe. It gives you all the time you need to understand who these characters are, where they are at in life, and why they're there, and why they get part of the team. You know, it's sure, maybe this movie could be told in a shorter runtime, but in a world where streaming is king, I hope that we see more longer form films. I'm all about that. Like, to me, this is the return of the king of the DC movies, right? Where it's like a 3-4 hour experience, you know, but everything has time to breathe and world build, and you get to feel lived in a bit. Like, you get to feel like you've gone to a place for X amount of time, instead of like, all right, let's smash out this experience or this ride and get out and go on the next one. Or, you know, you just pop in the popcorn and be done with it. I like more, like, that's fun and everything like that, and I do watch those every now and then, but every now and then I do like to have more meat on the bone, and Zack Snyder's DC movies do that for me. This movie feels like I've just read a 6-issue run of a DC story, and it has like a 0 issue or something at the end of it to explain the epilogue, right? That's what it felt like to me. Every part that happens is like an issue, it has its own story in the issue, and you go to the next one, and it's still cohesive throughout. There's a thread throughout every one of them that carries on to the next. This is just great. You don't see this happen too much these days. It's either an hour and a half or 2 hours and get out the door, or it's like a 10, 12 episode series. This is a happy medium for me. I've really, really enjoyed this. I had my doubts going in when I started hearing about it getting broken up into episodes or broken up into parts. I'm like, nah, just give me the long run movie, from go to woe. But it is still go to woe, but the way it's bookended gives yourself the bit of the time, even though it's like a couple seconds, but gives you your brain or your mind time to kind of just reset itself a bit before you enjoy the next story or the next part of this journey. I very much appreciate this delivery method. Not that I want every movie to do that, but the way this was designed and the way this movie was so artfully done, I understand why it's been made the way it has been made, and now I can't see it being made any other way. I hope that makes sense when you see it. If you do eventually watch this movie, hopefully that makes sense. Look, I don't want to ruin anything. There's a lot of moments in this movie that I did not expect. There's a lot of you got to choose my words carefully here. There's a lot of just moments, I'll say, or just scenes. God, I'm dancing around it. There's a lot of scenes in this movie that you didn't expect to be there, but when they're there, you're like, oh my God, what is that? And what does that mean? Oh boy, the implications of what I just saw. What is that? I wish I could tell you, because I have a lot to say, and if you haven't noticed, I'm trying to restrain myself. But when I say what are the my screen's turned off. Screensaver. When I say what does this mean? What are the implications of that? And what does that mean going forward? So we know that Zack Snyder's admitted that he's prepared a treatment for the second movie. Like, he has it on a board somewhere. He's not going to show that one where he's released the original versions for Justice League 2 or 3 online, but because of this movie, it's different from his original storyboard or whiteboard version script. If there is a Justice League 2 and 3 after this, it'll be different to that anyway, but you already got one ready. So I imagine that was done in the behind the scenes of like, all right, let's do this, but can you put in some stuff that opens the door for more if this is a success? And I think that's what these extra scenes are. They're all CG based, I assume. I mean, they have to be. It's some wild stuff. 2 shots in particular looked a bit off and looked like they were reusing some characters or film footage. I'm careful on my words, from previous films, and just repurposed them a bit and changed some color or shadowing or put them in a different scene, and just it made it look like it was something else. You'll know it when you see it, or maybe not. I did, because I've seen these movies countless times and I noticed them straight away. I was like, wait, isn't that from that scene in the other movie? But they're just repurposing it here. It looks, the CG'd it in a way where it looks like it's different, but it's not. You'll realize it when you see it, and that's kind of one of my negatives. It took me out of those 2 particular parts, but I understand it. I mean, you're not going to get that actor back during COVID to reshoot that particular moment, where they can just kind of reuse a bit of footage that might have been left on the cutting room floor anyway. So who knows, man? I'm just kind of really nitpicking. I'm really trying to find something negative. Not just because I want to, because there are some points here that took me out of it, and it wasn't like a full, like, yes, 100%, everything's amazing and perfect. Nothing's perfect, right? And those moments were those parts that weren't perfect. But otherwise, I couldn't really pick too much. The CG is so crisp. It's crispy, man. Like, this movie, they got it done in 6 months, like 2,440 something effect shots, and it was all done in 6 months, 6 or 7 months. I mean, that's, as far as I understand from what articles that have come out from people that have worked on this film, like, this hasn't happened before, and to do that in such a short amount of time, it's incredible. And to make it look so good, like, Steppenwolf looks crispy as hell, Darkseid looks crispy as hell. Like, all the CG, like Cyborg looks even better than he did on the 2017 one. Everything looks on point. It doesn't look like a 4-year-old movie. It looks like it came out like last year or this year or whatever. Like, it's incredible. I can't believe they did what they did. My God, I don't understand why people won't enjoy this. I will say though, just as another negative, I expect to see the same critics, the same access media people, and you know who they are, that'll just poo-poo this because it's DC and because it's Zack Snyder. For some reason, they just have it in for the guy. I never got it. I never understood it. But you are seeing some of these people flip-flopping and trying to jump on the positive bandwagon for clicks, from promoting this movie. But my God, if they have anything to go on, they'll just run with it. And I just anticipate it. Like, they'll probably criticize how long it is, criticize some parts of the movie as far as like length goes, but it's all personal opinions. I understand that everybody's viewing abilities and preferences are different. Not everybody wants to watch a 4-hour film, but this is a special movie. This is Justice League. I understand Avengers exists and that was a 2-hour movie or whatever, but it also had 5 other movies to build up those characters in. So if you really want to go down to brass tacks on this, Avengers was a 10-hour movie. If you really want to go there with me on that. Whereas this is Justice League introducing these 6 heroes with 2 movies before it. I think it's pretty fair play to be like, this deserves a bigger runtime. And that's what I said earlier about the advent of streaming allows for longer form content because we're accustomed to it now. If WandaVision released a day one drop of everything, you would have watched it all on one sitting. Don't tell me otherwise. If Falcon Winter Soldier dropped all their 8 episodes or whatever it is day one, you'll watch them all. Don't tell me otherwise. So don't give me complaints about a 4-hour movie. You're not too dumb. Like, you do know how to control your viewing and you know how to press pause if you need a break. I don't, that criticism that's going around, I don't agree with it whatsoever. Really don't. But anyway, look, I'm going to wrap this up because there's not much I can talk about that's not a spoiler. Yes, it has the same story beats as the 2017 one, but that was going to happen because it's essentially the same story structure. But everything is just immensely better, immensely fleshed out. Everything makes more sense. It feels like it actually exists in this story that was set up in Man of Steel and BVS. It's coherent. The score is excellent and suits the tone of the previous movies. It all feels like it belongs. Whereas the other one didn't. It was like this Frankenstein of ideas and executives. That's what that was. And that's what you get when you have stuff made for popcorns and committees, right? This one is an art movie. I'm just going to say it. It's an art movie. It's a massive, big budget. It's an achievement, a big budget artistic achievement. What else can I say for it? I can't wait to watch this again on March 18th. Let me know. Come back here if you're like, Chunt, you're just a fanboy. You're wrong. You know what you're talking about. Blah. I'll thank you for your retention and views and all that stuff. Because that all contributes to making my channel grow. So if you want to come back here and complain, I welcome your analytics and helping my channel out. So if you did like this, tell me below why. Like, what was your favorite part of the movie? I have 5 on the top of my head I could tell you right now, but it'll just spoil those 5 moments for you. Oh my God, this has been so difficult in dancing around this movie. I almost said something just then. I'm going to end this before I really ruin it. So look, thanks for watching. If you did make it all the way through, I know this wasn't much of a structured review discussion, and that's just the way I like to do it. I like to do it off the cuff. It's more raw and more me, more personable. I don't like to sit here and reading notes to you and dot points. I don't like to do that. I don't watch other channels that do that. So if this is what you like, stick around. This Sunday I'll have my next Chunt cast out. That's my weekly podcast that I do, and it's more like this. I have nice graphics and some jokes and whatever in there, and it's a bit more structured because there's multiple topics and stuff, but this is just one topic. And yes, cool. Anyway, enjoy yourself. Come back here next time. Tell me what you think after you've seen it on March 18th, And more DC Comics, more Henry Cavill as Superman. I want it in my world. I'll have more Ben Affleck Batman, thanks. I'll have more Momoa Aquaman. I'll have more Gal Wonder Woman. I'll even take more Ezra. Oh my god, yeah, look. I'm done. I'm gonna spoil things. I'm out of here. Bye.
Like, comment, subscribe.